Thank you, Maureen. It's wonderful to be up here with Chris and all these amazing creatives. One of the things I've learned from my time with The Walking Dead is the sheer complexity of the work that goes into creating a living, breathing world. This is for everyone. Tonally, all of you have worked on projects that are willing to go to some pretty dark places. What are some of the fun and unique challenges of these types of projects?
I could just say, first of all, on Key and Peele and Workaholics, every time you see blood and guts and carnage, it's all plastic and rubber, and it's all rentable. So any carcass, any body part, any appendage that you might want, you go to a place like Dapper Cadaver in Burbank, or you go to one of your vendors and you say, okay, what I need is the head needs to be cut off, but the slice needs to be clean, it can't have guts hanging out. And these are the kind of conversations you're having every single day. On Workaholics, I had to carry around Alice's decapitated head in my car for 3 days for fear of losing it. And, so like, as gory and bloody and as scary as it sounds, it's something that you just talk about like you would talk about what you're having for breakfast.
In the Vampire Diaries, we kill people constantly, and whether we're in post or on set, we're always yelling for more blood, just more blood. I know we better.
Can we drink this? It's always,
yeah.
And of course, I will say, yes, I'll give you lots of blood, because that's what I love to do.
The research can get a little heavy at times, but once momentum builds when developing a character, it's easy to get caught up in that. And at one point last season, a member of our department needed to update our stunt coordinator, and the text went something like, so-and-so is now getting their throat slashed instead of their head bashed in, but she accidentally sent that to a wrong random number. so she immediately went on damage control and said, don't call the cops, nobody's getting hurt, I work on a TV show. So thankfully the guy had a sense of humor and said, I never liked that guy anyway.
All right, so our next question is from Maggie. You've worked on a wide variety of projects from Mad Men to Matrix Reloaded. How does the makeup workload process differ across different genres or mediums? And is there a particular type of project that you're most drawn to nowadays?
Okay. For me, it basically starts off with the script. Basically, that's my guide to what genre I'll be working on.
Yeah.
It will determine the size of the scope of the project that I'm going to be part of. With Mad Men, it was, we were recreating an era, Pacific era in the 1960s. Then when I did Matrix 2 and 3, obviously that was a big scale projects. That came down to basically our imagination, guidance from the director. We weren't too heavily influenced from the first Matrix, actually, which was a bit hard to believe.
Sure.
We actually had the artistic license to basically evolve and create it for ourselves. If you look at the costumes, they were more evolved in number 2 and number 3 as opposed to number 1. So we went with that evolvement, creating the designs on all the characters. Even Neo was styled differently, and Trinity was styled a little bit more differently than the first Matrix. As the amount of work, again, it's to the vision of the director and the script. Island of Dr. Moreau, that was full-on creature effects that I was doing. So a lot of work. So yeah, basically that's how.
Is there a certain kind of project that you get excited about today, or that you're most drawn to?
I just love doing anything. And the check's clear.
paycheck.
No, I just love making films. It doesn't matter to me whether it's sci-fi or contemporary or period. I mean, I love doing musicals. I mean, Almost Famous, Moulin Rouge I've done. I think every type of project that I've done, I'm always excited, I'm always nervous because I care, that I want to do a good job. I think because I just love this industry so much, anything is fascinating to me.
Yeah, I mean,
And we haven't been particularly faithful to the comic, which was originally a concern of mine when I signed on. I wondered if there'd be a pushback against it, but people tend to accept it for what it is. And it's been really, really interesting watching the show evolve. I mean, we started out as kind of a procedural drama with a little bit of a celestial twist, I guess you could call it. And it's really just evolved into more and more. There's more of a serialized side of the story and where it's going. And there's definitely elements that are drawn from the comic, but it's not 100% faithful to it. And I think anytime you're doing a show like that for broadcast, that's just the nature of the beast. And just watching it evolve has been a lot of fun. Just watching the comedic elements come out, and as they start to write for more of the side characters, and not just Tom Ellis or Spotter, who's fantastic, by the way. So that's been a real fun thing to be a part of, and I'm not really sure what's going in season 3, but I'm pretty excited about it.
In the race, you want to pay attention to the visual effects as early as possible because you know that the time is going to go so quickly. On one of my episodes for Mr. Robot, where we had 100 effects, we didn't have all the effects the night of the online, which was the day before it's airing, and we watched the episode at midnight. We're all sort of tired and like looking, and suddenly it's like, wait, the effect's not there. And we went through the whole thing, and the effects were not there. And it turned out to be a whole snafu. We finished onlining at 6:30 in the morning because it was missing effects for a show that aired that night, which is...
And can we give a nice round of applause to Hannah?